The Life and Sad Ending of Brenda Lee. Brenda Lee was born Brenda Mae Tarpley on December 11, 1944, in Atlanta, Georgia, U.S., to parents Annie Grace and Reuben Lindsey Tarpley. She weighed 4 pounds 11 ounces at birth. Lee attended grade schools wherever her father found work, primarily between Atlanta and Augusta. Her family was poor. As a child, she shared a bed with her brother and sister in a series of 3-room houses without running water. Life centered on her parents finding work, their family, and the Baptist church, where she began singing solos every Sunday. Though her family did not have indoor plumbing until after her father's death, they had a battery-powered table radio that fascinated Brenda as a baby. Both her mother and sister remembered taking her repeatedly to a local candy store before she turned 3. One of them would stand her on the counter and she would earn candy or coins for singing. Lee's voice, pretty face, and stage presence won her wider attention from the time she was 5 years old. At age 6, she won a local singing contest sponsored by local elementary schools. The reward was a live appearance on an Atlanta radio show, Starmakers Review, where she performed for the next year. Her father died in 1953 in a construction accident, and by the time she turned 10, she was the primary breadwinner of her family, through singing at events and on local radio and television shows. During that time, she appeared regularly on the country music show TV Ranch on Wagga TV in Atlanta. She was so short, the host would lower a stand microphone as low as it would go and stand her up on a wooden crate to reach it. In 1955, Grace Tarpley was remarried to Buell J. Rainwater, who moved the family to Cincinnati, Ohio, where he worked at the Jimmy Skinner Music Center. Lee performed with Skinner at the record shop on 2 Saturday programs broadcast over Newport, Kentucky, radio station WNOP. The family soon returned to Georgia, but this time to Augusta, and Lee appeared on the show The Peach Blossom Special on WJAT-AM in Swainsboro. Lee's breakthrough came in February 1955, when she turned down $30 to appear on a Swainsboro radio station in order to see Red Foley and a touring promotional unit of his ABC TV program Ozark Jubilee in Augusta. An Augusta disc jockey persuaded Foley to hear her sing before the show. Foley did and agreed to let her perform Jambalaya on stage that night, unrehearsed. Foley later recounted the moments great following her introduction. On March 31, 1955, the 10-year-old made her network debut on Ozark Jubilee in Springfield, Missouri. Although her 5-year contract with the show was broken by a 1957 lawsuit brought by her mother and her manager, she made regular appearances on the program throughout its run. Less than 2 months later, on July 30, 1956, Decca Records offered her a contract, and her first record was Jambalaya, backed with Bigelow 6200. Lee's second single featured 2 novelty Christmas tunes, I Am Gonna Lasso Santa Claus and Christy Christmas. Though she turned 12 on December 11, 1956, both of the first 2 Decca singles credit her as Little Brenda Lee 9 years old. Neither of the 1956 releases charted, but her first issue in 1957, One Step at a Time, written by Hugh Ashley, became a hit in both the pop and country fields. Her next hit, Dynamite, coming out of a 4 feet 9-inch frame, led to her lifelong nickname, Little Miss Dynamite. Lee first attracted attention performing in country music venues and shows. However, her best-known recordings from the 1960s were released to country radio, and despite her country sound, with top Nashville session people, she did not have another country hit until 1969 with Johnny One Time. Lee achieved her biggest success on the pop charts in the late 1950s through the mid-1960s with rockabilly and rock and roll-styled songs. Her biggest hits included Jambalaya, Sweet Nothin's No. 4, written by country musician Ronnie Self, I Want to Be Wanted No. 1, All Alone Am I number 3, and Fool number 1 number 3. She had more hits with the more pop-based songs That's All You Gotta Do number 6, Emotions number 7, You Can Depend on Me number 6, Dum Dum number 4, 1962's Break It to Me Gently number 2, Everybody Loves Me But You number 6, and As Usual number 12. Lee's total of 9 consecutive top 10 Billboard Hot 100 hits from That's All You Gotta Do in 1960 through All Alone Am I in 1962 set a record for a female solo artist that was not equaled until 1986 by Madonna. The biggest selling track of Lee's career was A Christmas Song. In 1958, when she was 13, producer Owen Bradley asked her to record a new song by Johnny Marks, who had had success writing Christmas tunes for country singers, most notably Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and A Holly Jolly Christmas. Lee recorded the song, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, in July with a prominent twanging guitar part by Hank Garland and raucous sax soloing by Nashville icon Boots Randolph. Decca released it as a single that November, but it sold only 5,000 copies, and did not do much better when it was released again in 1959. However, over subsequent years, it eventually sold more than 5 million copies. In 1960, she recorded her signature song, I Am Sorry, which hit number 1 on the Billboard Pop chart. It was her first gold single and was nominated for a Grammy Award. Citation needed, even though it was not released as a country song, it was among the first big hits to use what was to become the Nashville sound, a string orchestra and legato-harmonized background vocals. Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree got noticed in its third release a few months later, and sales snowballed. The song remains a perennial favorite each December and is the record with which she is most identified by contemporary audiences. Her last top 10 single on the pop charts in the United States was 1963's Losing You number 6, though she continued to have other chart hits such as 1964's As Usual, her 1966 song Coming On Strong and Is It True in 1964. The latter, featuring Big Jim Sullivan, Jimmy Page on guitars, Bobby Graham on drums, was her only hit single recorded in London, England, and was produced by Mickie Most. It was recorded at Decca Records' No. 2 studio at their West Hampstead complex, as was the UK B-side, a version of Ray Charles' 1959 classic cut, What'd First Say, which was not released in America. Lee was popular in the UK from early in her career. She performed on television in the UK in 1959, before she had achieved much pop recognition in the United States. Her first hit single in the UK was Sweet Nothings, which reached number 4 on the UK singles chart in the spring of 1960. She subsequently had the UK hit with Let's Jump the Broomstick, a rockabilly number recorded in 1959, which had not charted in the United States but reached number 12 in the UK. Lee had 2 top 10 hits in the UK that were not released as singles in her native country. The first, Speak to Me Pretty, peaked at number 3 in May 1962 and was her greatest hit in the UK by chart placing, swiftly followed by Here Comes That Feeling, which reached number 5 in the summer of 1962. The latter was issued as the B-side to Everybody Loves Me But You in the United States. However, Here Comes That Feeling also made an appearance in the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 89, despite its B-side status in the U.S. In 1962, while touring West Germany, she appeared at the famous Star Club, Hamburg, with the Beatles as the opening act. Lee also had big hits in the UK with All Alone Am I and As Usual. Brenda Lee first visited England for 3 days in April 1959 as a last-minute replacement on Oh Boy. She first toured the UK in March and April 1962 with Gene Vincent and Sounds Incorporated, and she toured the country for the second time in March 1963, this time supported by The Bachelors, Sounds Incorporated, Tony Sheridan, and Mike Berry. Brenda Lee also toured in Ireland in 1963 and appeared on the front cover of the Irish dancing and entertainment magazine Spotlight in April that year. After appearing at the annual Royal Variety performance before Queen Elizabeth II at the London Palladium on November 2, 1964, Lee toured Britain again in November and December 1964. During the early 1970s, Lee re-established herself as a country music artist and earned a string of top 10 hits in the United States on the country charts. The first was 1973's Nobody Wins, which reached the top 5 that spring and became her last top 100 pop hit, peaking at number 70. The follow-up, the Mark James composition Sunday Sunrise, reached number 6 on Billboard magazine's Hot Country Singles chart that October. Other major hits included Wrong Ideas and Big Four Poster Bed in 1974, and Rock On Baby and He's My Rock both in 1975. After a few years of lesser hits, Lee began another run at the top 10 with 1979's Tell Me What It's Like. Two follow-ups also reached the top 10 in 1980, The Cowgirl and the Dandy and Broken Trust. A 1982 album, The Winning Hand, featuring Lee along with Dolly Parton, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson, was a surprise hit, reaching the top 10 on the U.S. Country Albums chart. Her last well-known hit was 1984's Hallelujah, I Love Her So in duet with George Jones. Lee has continued to record and perform around the world, having previously cut records in 4 different languages. In 1992, she recorded a duet You'll Never Know with Willie DeVille on his album Lou Garo. In April 2017, she was still performing and touring. On October 4, 2000, Lee inducted fellow country music legends Faron Young and Charley Pride into the Country Music Hall of Fame. On December 13, 2017, Lee's song Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree showed up at number 37 on the Billboard Hot 100. That song had not seen any chart action in the United States since 1961, although in the UK it has regularly returned to the top 40 in recent times. Her autobiography, Little Miss Dynamite: The Life and Times of Brenda Lee, was published by Hyperion in 2002. Lee has been very involved with the Country Music Hall of Fame, announcing the inductees each year and then officially presenting them with their membership medallions at a special ceremony every year. The most recent inductees announced by Lee are Randy Travis, Charlie Daniels, and Fred Foster in 2016. On June 25, 2019, the New York Times Magazine listed Brenda Lee among hundreds of artists whose material was reportedly destroyed in the 2008 Universal fire. On the Billboard Hot 100 chart dated December 21, 2019, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree reached a new peak of number 3 in the United States with 37.1 million streams and 5,000 digital sales sold. The following week it moved up to number 2, where it remained for a second week. On September 26, 1986, Brenda Lee was installed in the Atlanta Music Hall of Fame 5th Annual Awards ceremony held at the Radisson Inn, Atlanta, Georgia. She was named among many other famous recording artists including Riley Puckett, Gid Tanner, Dan Hornsby, Clayton McMitchan, and Boots Woodall to name a few. Lee reached the final ballot for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990 and 2001 without being inducted, but she was voted into the Hall of Fame in 2002. Celebrating over 50 years as a recording artist, in September 2006 she was the second recipient of the Joe Meter Walker Lifetime Achievement Award by the Source Foundation in Nashville. In 1997, she was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame and is a member of the Rockabilly Hall of Fame and the Hit Parade Hall of Fame. In 2008 her recording of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree marked 50 years as a holiday standard, and in February 2009 the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences gave Lee a Lifetime Achievement Grammy Award. In personal life, Lee met Ronnie Shacklett at a November 1962 Bo Diddley and Jackie Wilson concert at Nashville's Fairgrounds Coliseum and married him less than 6 months later, on April 24, 1963. Lee and Shacklett have 2 daughters, Jolie and Julie, and 3 grandchildren, Taylor, Jordan, and Charlie. Lee is also the cousin of singer Dave Rainwater from the New Christie Minstrels. Probably, right now is her worst time when her health is slowly deteriorating. Thank you for listening to the story about the life of Brenda Lee. Like and comment on your opinion in the comments section below.